Live from the O'Brien Services Stadium Studios, this is the fifth quarter.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the fifth quarter and round one of the high school football playoffs. This is the place to be for the gridiron action and the best one around. You know it's a big week because we got Joe Katz back in the house tonight. Joe, to fill you in, we've got 8 teams in the playoffs chasing rings. What do you think our chances are to bring some home to the area?
Well, Dustin, it definitely feels like some playoff football out there tonight. I was over at Legion Stadium to catch the New Hanover-West Brunswick game. Right now, you're looking across the region, the Cape Fear region. You know, we've got 4, 5, maybe even 6 teams that can make a run. The goal every year is to play Thanksgiving weekend and see where it goes from there. Well, right now, we are off to a good start for some of these local teams that were able to pick up wins tonight.
That is right. There's no time to lose. Let's go ahead and get into that action. Only one matchup this week features 2 of our area teams, and to say they are familiar with each other may be an understatement. Taking you back to the BB&T Jamboree at Legion Stadium, the Cats and the Trojans faced off. Then in Week 9, once again in Wilmington, the 2 clashed again. Tonight was the 3rd and final time. So who gets the win? It's off to Legion Stadium for this round 3 of West Brunswick and New Hanover.
Wildcats looking to bounce back after their first setback of the season. It did not take long for the Cats to get going. Here's Wisdom Vaughn on the end around with the jet sweep for 6, and the Wildcats are on the board early.
Early 7-0 lead. Vaughn tonight broke the New Hanover County single-season record for receiving yards, counted for over 1,600 yards total. But hey, they could run the ball too here over.
Hey, here's one of the newcomers to the team. Jabez Howard uses the spin cycle right there, gets across midfield for the Wildcats, a first down. And here's Blake Walston with a big play over to a newcomer.
Look at the pump fake going up top. It is former fifth quarter player of the week, Cole Tanner, finding the end zone. Great play right there. Walston back on the attack. Back to Tanner once again. This guy is a playmaker.
Yeah, one of the more reliable targets for Walston this year, paired with some pretty dynamic playmakers on the offensive side of the ball. Here in the second quarter, Travis Lee getting the carry. A big lead block up front by senior lineman Alti Damazi. Travis Lee in for 6.
That's a new name we haven't heard much of. Here's a name we've heard plenty of, Blake Walston to Freddie Taylor. It's a beautiful touchdown, 58 yards on the score. New Hanover rolls in this one 55-21. They'll be back at Legion Stadium a week from tonight as they roll on. Joe, New Hanover finally got in the loss column like you said earlier last week, but they bounced back big tonight. What did you see from the Cats?
Well, I would think it's always tough for the Wildcats to, play up against a team that they've played 3 times now to get up for that, beating them pretty convincingly the first 2 times. That's not the case. They had something to prove after, taking one on the chin against Hoggard a week ago. And here are the Wildcats with a big victory, 55-21.
The sign of those good teams being able to bounce back after the losses. Let's get back into those highlights now with a former New Hanover coach's team. It's friend of the program, Kevin Motzinger, and the Wallace Rose Hill Bulldogs looking for a 4th consecutive state title. This is a great way to start.
Desmond Newkirk takes the handoff and lets his athleticism do the rest. Keeps his feet moving after contact, and look at him go. All the way to the house, it's Desmond Newkirk, and Wallace Rose Hill was up early in this one.
Speed that thing up because he is running faster than lightning right here. Check out this play going up top. Michael Basden, Nick Dobson. Look at the big man scoring touchdowns right there with ease.
Yeah, wide open right there as, Whiteville there. Wallace Rose Hill, rather. Little scooped score here for Patrick Farrier. He could go all the way. Yes, he does for 6 on the defensive side of the football.
Love defensive touchdowns. Coach Motz is a happy man tonight. Final score from the Dog Pound, 42-3 with Wallace getting the win. Now, Joe, let's go ahead and check out with some of the other out-of-area games. Last night, Laney fell to Middle Creek by a final score of 43-6 in a tough loss to end their season. Unfortunately, the fate was the same for the Pender Patriots. They dropped that one to Lakewood 34-0. Joe, we've checked in with 4 of those teams that we're following, and we'll have 3 more after the break. So let's go ahead and get to that commercial break. It's just about time. Check in with the 3 kings of the 3 rivers. Stay locked in right here. The fifth quarter rolls on.
More highlights coming up. You're watching the fifth quarter on WWAY.
This is the fifth quarter.
Yes, it is. Welcome back, everyone. Joe, last week, Wattville did something not many people have been able to do over the last few seasons as they beat South Columbus. Last time South lost, they went on a 10-game win streak. They're a streaky team, so let's see how they fared in round one tonight. Off to the OK Corral where the Stallions look to make another deep playoff run. They made it to the semis last year. This time it all starts against Wheatmore.
Yeah, Wheatmore quarterback able to handle the snap right there and gets the ball off somehow and finds a receiver downfield, but the chains read fourth down, and it's a goal line stand for South Columbus, and they get the ball back right here.
And then it's Seth Buffkin finding the end zone. This makes it 7-0. It's kind of a low-scoring game in this one, not something we're used to with South, much in part to the defense making stands like this.
Yeah, second quarter action right here. Wheatmore looking to tie this thing up, but the Stallions defense comes up, makes another stop. It's an interception by Rajon Graham for the Stallions.
Both teams' defense really doing well in this one. South back on defense again, but that's okay because they've got interceptions going the other way.
Great athleticism from Traquan Bellamy, a guy that you know very well if you've been watching the fifth quarter with the INT.
The defensive struggle on both sides of the ball ends with a 14-0 win for South Columbus. That's all that matters. Time for the second Three Rivers team. For highlights from Elizabethtown, let's hand it over to John McHugh. John?
Thank you, Dustin. Well, East Bladen had their season ended in a heartbreaker last year, dropping a 1-point loss to South Columbus in the third round of the 2A playoffs. Another 1-point loss to the Stallions is their only blemish this season. They're the 2 seed this time around, and tonight they got their run started against James Keenan.
Let's take you out to Elizabethtown for the first round matchup. Eagles trying to make their way through the state 2A playoffs, and not a great start here. Keenan hands it off to Tawan Savage, punches it in for the Tigers, giving them a 7-0 lead. But East Bladen won't be held down for long. Drives down the field, hands it to Eric Chansey. He gets the score. It's 7-6 now for the Tigers. Now 13-6, but East Bladen hands it to Xavier Wooten. He hits a hole and he goes all the way, takes it to the house, ties it up at 13. Now second quarter, I promise this is not the same play from a different angle. They hand it to Xavier Wooten again and he goes all the way. Touchdown Eagles. That makes it 20-13, gives East Bladen their first lead of the game. Now later in the quarter, a handoff up the middle to Chansey again. Another touchdown for the young man. That makes it 26-13 East Bladen. Keenan would put up a fight in the second half, but East Bladen holds on. They take this one 39-33.
The Eagles are moving on. They'll take on Green Central next week for their second round matchup.
Thank you, John. All right, it's time to head over to Wattville, baby. The Wolfpack have been one of the best teams around. Can they keep it going against North Wilkes, though? Let's go ahead and find out. Vikings took the opening possession, did not waste any time finding the end zone. Jarrett Grimes sneaks through the line, 7-0 North here, Joe.
Yeah, next drive for the Pack trying to respond. Here's Keontae Webb, takes the handoff, but the ball going the other way. Disaster for Whiteville on their opening drive. A holding call, however. He sees block in the back, didn't affect anything on the drive. Flag on the play, pulls it back with a block in the back and negates the touchdown.
That's going to be a big difference maker because here it is, fourth down and goal on the one, and the Pack stand up. What a goal line stand. Moncovia Gaffney loving it. That's a huge momentum changer right here. Then we go to special teams. We only show this for big plays or boo-boos. That's a boo-boo right there for the Vikings.
Maybe a kick-catch interference there, not called. Nonetheless, a fumble the other way, and the Wolfpack fans are loving it.
Yes, they are, and they're loving this too. Going up top, it is Ty Moss to Cameron Smith. 6 for number 6, and the Pack tie this game up at 7 apiece. Now the Vikings going back in the red zone, looking to go up, but the goal line defense shines again.
Yeah, a little miscommunication on the handoff there in the backfield. Jumps on the football, and the Wolfpack come away with another big stop deep in their own territory.
And then it's former fifth quarter player of the week, Ty Moss, finding the end zone. That is another capitalize on the turnover. Gotta love it. Looks scary to start, but the Pack fight on to get the 45-13 victory. They are moving on to round number 2. So, Joe, we just saw 3 big-time wins from the Pack, the Eagles, and the Stallions. I want to talk about some crazy scenarios real quick. All 3 and Wallace can meet in the semis for the 2A playoffs. Can they all make it, though?
Let's not get ahead of ourselves, Dustin. As playing a little coach speak, we play one game at a time right now, and that's what we need to do. We need to play one game at a time, so we're worrying about the second round of the playoffs come next Friday. But you know what? You never know. These 4 teams could get on a roll here. Whiteville is on a roll. South Columbus looking to bounce back. East Bladen's been playing good football. Wallace Rose Hill defending however many championships they've won. So very possible that all 4 teams could meet in the semifinals.
And that's exactly why I get ahead of myself and get excited. We'll have to wait and see if that can actually happen, but that is, like you said, for another week. Tonight we still have some show left, and if you're just joining us, let's take a look at all the scores from round number 1.
This is the 5th quarter.
Welcome back, folks. Joe, did you see anything that stood out to you tonight? Maybe a little play of the week worthy?
Couple plays, Dustin, I saw tonight, but there was only one that could be the play of the week here on the 5th quarter.
That is it. So let's send it out to Wallace again. Desmond Newkirk takes the handoff and lets his athleticism do the rest. Look at him go, Joe.
1, 2, 3, 4 tackles that are missed on the way to the house for Desmond Newkirk, who barrels his way through the second level of defense, and a big run for Wallace Rose Hill to get them going. The Bulldogs were cruising. Bumped up a classification this year, so maybe not guaranteed that they're going to be playing for a state championship. But with guys like Desmond Newkirk carrying the football, very good chance that the Dogs could be rolling soon enough.
You know that. I'm just sitting here staring at this as you're talking. That is a heck of a run. They've got a lot of playmakers, and it's going to be really interesting if they're going to have to face off against East Bladen later. Couple star run games going at it. Now, let's talk a little more Three Rivers. Let's try something different tonight for the playoffs. It's our clutch performers of the week. This week, it's the Whiteville defense. 2 huge goal line stands in the first half really shifted the momentum. This game could have easily been 14-0 and maybe eventually 21-0 if it weren't for these 2 huge plays for the Wolfpack. Got to give some credit to the big boys in the middle for blowing those plays up, Joe.
Yeah, Whiteville maybe coming off a little hangover, an emotional win over South Columbus a week ago. Slow to get the offense going, so the defense steps up for the Wolfpack to get them going on their way to, what was a 45-13 win.
Yes, it was. That was our 5th quarter clutch performers of the week. I could say that. I could get that out. Thanks to that performance, Whiteville is moving on along with 4 other teams, and of course, Hoggard's on a bye. Who stood out to you? What are you looking forward to next week?
Well, you look at the Three Rivers Conference, as you mentioned. We kind of covered that already. Looking to move, into next week. Big game over at Legion Stadium a week from tonight. It'll be Dudley coming to town against the New Hanover Wildcats. Wildcats still have something to prove, I think, after, getting beat up over there on Shipyard Boulevard last Friday night. And, of course, the Hoggard Vikings will be coming off that bye week. Well-oiled machine right now with Josh Jones at the quarterback position. Look for the Vikes to make a move come playoff time.
It's going to be interesting to see those guys. You think New Hanover really putting up that scoreboard tonight because of the loss last week? They want to show people they're still around?
Well, they've been putting up big numbers all year round, and once in a while you're going to have a hiccup in a season, and it's how you respond. Well, they responded in a big way tonight.
Yes, they did. Joe, great to have you back this week, and we will see you again next week for round number 2. Until then, special shout out to all the men and women who serve and who have served our great country. Happy Veterans Day to you all, and let's leave you now with the best sights and sounds of round 1. See ya.
You're watching ABC on WWAY TV3.